Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome in today's uh, video where I have one special guest who is going to build an AWS PartyRock app today. So last two videos that we had, the first one we had with Avinash, the second we had with Jones, and now it's with Kaushik. So all the flavors are different. So the first one was created by, it was a app remix. The second one was a creation of what I would say. Uh, Second one that Jones created was building from scratch. Now this one is going to be building an application by using a prompt. So before we get started, let me introduce you with our incredible speaker. So he's an AWS hero, AWS ambassador, and he is also one of the co-organizer of AWS User Group Malaysia. He has been doing a lot of community activities and also very active into community stuff by where he shares his knowledge with wider audience. Again, too much things to talk from a single person, so let me call upon Kaushik on our live stream and ask him to introduce himself with you guys. So let me have Kaushik on the stream. Hey Kaushik, how are you?
Hey, Dheeraj, I'm good. Thank you for having me. Hello to your audience and whichever part of the world you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So
Yes.
yes, thank you, Dheeraj.
So why don't we start with the introduction with our audience? Over to you, Kaushik.
Sure. Thanks, Dheeraj. So I think you have given a brief intro already, but just a quick overview. So I've been working in the cloud space for about 13 years now. While when I started my association with my company, Wasteland Technologies, and ever since then, specifically working in AWS core technologies and building them. Going from a tech background to sales, selling cloud right now. So that's what I do, and have had great opportunity to work with great folks like Dheeraj and everyone in the community because of the community group that we have, such as the community builder when I was part of the first cohort and then became the AWS hero. So I think great opportunities to collaborate and work with everyone and then give it back to the community where we all started and learned from.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Kaushik, what are we building today? What's on your mind?
So people who have known me would always know that I've been very passionate about one particular topic, which is well-architected framework. Uh, Many would know that whenever I've had an opportunity, I've used that to reach out because that touches upon into multiple domains and sets the foundation right. Right. It may not double click into every one specific detail like what Jonas did yesterday, right? So he went into specific serverless while yes that is very critical. I also believe that having the foundation right is also important, which
Yes.
we can achieve using well architected framework and the pillars that they have, 6 pillars, and the many lenses that are there available as of now. So we are not going to touch upon what well architected framework is and whatnot, but what we are going to do is certainly uh, build an application which will get some prompts on your current architecture
Mhm.
basis various pillars, the concepts, the fundamentals, and then give you and evaluate that aspect and say whether you are well architected or not. If if yes, it would give you a score whether it's you're strong, medium or weak, and then go into the next phase of giving you recommendations what can be done. So yeah, that is the idea. Playrock is a great playground for us to evaluate building the apps using the
Mhm.
domain knowledge that is there, and that's what
Mhm.
we're going to do today.
Fantastic. So, Kaushik, let me go ahead and share your screen, and
Yes,
I will leave it
please.
over to you. You are going to drive the Party Rock
Thank you.
building video today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So, hello everyone again. So the idea is, so we build something using prompts where we can go and say, yes, let's generate an app and give some prompts, right? So, uh, in interest of time, what I've done is I've generated those prompts, but we'll walk through each one of them. So to start with, whenever you want to do that, just go click generate app, and here can go and do it. Yesterday, if you go to the previous ones, Jonas built it manually, going into specific details using the prompts. We can do that, but in interest of time, this is what we're going to do, right? So let's start with setting the context right. So we're going to say create an app that evaluates the cloud architecture, and we create a series of inputs that is aligned to the pillars of the well architected framework. That's what we want to do. And and we want to say what they want to ask against the uh, five pillars and beyond from an architecture perspective. So, what are the five pillars? We'll start with something like scalability, right? So, you want to say what is there in scalability, and as part of that, what we want to do and share as part of it. So, we want to say, can you describe your VPC? Yeah, are you doing your auto scaling right or not, and so on and so forth. So these are the kind of questions that I have written and which will probably just prompt it over here. So if you see, these are the two set of questions that I have put together. Can you describe your current VPC setup, design what are scalability, what are the subnets, and so on and so forth, right? And scaling. So that's scaling policy that we want to do as part of this. So with this, we will understand what is scalability. Similarly, I'm just going to copy all of it and then put it through. So we're going to touch upon reliability, security, and many more. So just let me paste all the prompts here together and then look into it. Right. So we saw, okay, scalability, what is going to be there, what is our scaling policy, and so on and so forth. For reliability, what we are saying is how is your architecture distributed across availability zones? Is it multi-region or not? And these would define your reliability. From a security standpoint, again, here it is not an extensive list. I've just touched upon 2 points. How is your IAM and MFA and so on and so forth. Your security groups at a network layer, how is that managed? Then going into performance efficiency, what are the instance types? Is it right sized or not? Can we improvise that to use it? Are we using serverless? Going into cost optimization, how are we managing the cost? What are the right sizing strategies? Then we follow it up with monitoring and logging as well, because operational excellence is a part of it, and including your compliance and governance. Do you want compliance as part of it? Going into automation, and lastly is the architecture design. Right? What is the current architecture model that we want to use? Is it more microservices, monolithic, and so on and so forth. So all of these we have defined as what we want as the input to be requested from the end customer user, right? So we want all of this, but at the end of the day, what we want to analyze after gathering all of this, what we have to analyze is the current setup that is there, and as per the well architected framework, I want a complete feedback and suggestion for improvement, right? So that's the output that we want to generate. So yeah, so we have set up the context, what we want to do. We have set up the prompts saying that what are the inputs that we need to take from the end user, which every end user who is owning an application should know. And then we will say what should be the outcome of this application that is going to happen, right? Hope this is clear now. So now what we will do is we'll let PartyRock do the magic. We'll say, okay, generate this particular app for me, and it has named it as Cloud Architect Pro, right? So now it's doing its magic. It will set the introduction, the application, the final application that we'll have. Let it just create this. Access control performance section. It will say what are the inputs we need, resource sizing, and so on and so forth. And then all the current inputs that we have given is being considered right now. Well, it does, right? So wherever you see the arrows, that is where it is expecting an input as part of the application. And then you would have the architecture analysis, which will be an output. And then we'll, as part of the widget, we'll also have a follow-up discussion, right? Which we'll see now. Okay, so there we go. With a click of a button, based on the prompts and your thought process, what has happened now is it has created a complete app which is potentially requesting all the information that we need from the end user, right? Build accordingly and do it. So, just based on your prompts, it has created all the inputs. It is going to take all of the analysis that, based on the inputs that we give here, the architecture analysis will be populated. And then whatever further enhancements we want to do based on the results, we can do it here based in the follow-up discussion. But let's make this as a quick thing where we want to edit and make it more user friendly for us, right? So that every user who comes in is able to use it properly. Yeah. So I'm just going to do this. Just bear with me, because we don't want everyone to be daunted by seeing the application. So I'm just going to make it easy for everyone. Let me do this here. So, for every section there, what we have seen is based on the two line items we are given, it is asking for two inputs, right? So, and if you see, based on the inputs we gave, it is also giving the prompts automatically into each of the input file as to what is required, so that we know what to expect from the user. All right, I think last few sections, let's do this. Right? So, because what here, well, basically think of this where you are developing the application and you're defining how the UI of your application is going to be as well, right? This is exactly what your end user will see when they are using your URL. When we make it public, we will share this, and everyone on the internet will be able to use this application, right? So, and hence we want to make it as user friendly as possible and then train it accordingly so that it addresses the key requirements that we have. Okay, I think this is the last section. Okay, second last. Okay, and now the architecture section, in which we will define it later on what is it and so on and so forth. Okay. So your output is going to come here. So I think I would like to keep it wide enough so that it is there, and the follow-up discussion can be minimized. So this is where we are going to look at. Okay. So this is your thing. I want to edit and say this is going to be my uh, well tested analyzer, right? And save. Okay, and we let it. So this is my end application that's going to be available. Once I click share, I'll be able to do this and so on and so forth, right? So uh, this is where the application is going to be. But while I will share the link and you're able to use it, let's see how the outcome is from here, right? So now the application is ready. We have to do is describe each of this. So let's say from a VPC setup standpoint, right? Let's describe this as well. Let's say that we have one VPC with three subnets, right? One public subnet and two private subnets with the C rank of, uh, let's say 10.0.0.0/16. All right. So that's what we're going to say. For the auto spelling, we'll say that, you know, um, this application is set up Scaling application code comments to application data. Sounds good, right? Then and so on and so forth. So I think let me probably again just use some of the previous things that I had done. So let's say for distribution setup, right? How it is distributed. I had some specific inputs that I had created to ease it up, right? So I'm going to say our architecture is deployed into AWS regions, with cross-region replication for critical. So I think to align with this, and I have to say that we have two VPCs each having and yeah, put this one, and then we say what is the backup strategy. We'll say we'll do daily backups, right? And with the daily backups, we will be doing is right for RDS for 30 with a 30-day retention policy. And in case of failure, we have automated failover to the secondary region. That's what we're going to do. And then for security, we have, let's say, I'm going to say that it's going to have a custom security group for different application layers, right? For every layer that I'm going to say that my web app layer and database layer is going to have it. And network ACLs are also configured to allow HTTPS traffic from the specific ranges that is there. And for IAM as well, I'm going to say that we're going to use MFA, which is enabled and done. So this, in a way that I'm saying that at least it is secure for admin roles, right? Let me say that MFA is not mandated for all users for now. So at least let's see that if it highlights this as a security concern as part of the well-architected framework. Okay, so I added this up. MFA is not mandated for other users. For instance, configuration under performance section, let's say we use an EC2 instance of general purpose and M5 large for our database. And let's do it. I think this prompt that I have. Okay, sorry, it's going to be here. And this one will be DB done. Yeah, for thing. So that's one is this. And for serverless, shall we say we're going to use Lambda? So that's what I took. We are using Lambda and ECS with Fargate, and that's the serverless usage that we are doing. So I'm assuming as an output, it should come as we are right path with the serverless usage from a performance section where it is auto scaling and ensuring it is mapping up to our requirements. Because down below in the architecture, I'm going to say I want the microservices architecture. So it should align with that, right? From a cost management, let's say we're going to track cost using Cost Explorer, maybe, right? And I'm not going to say anything regarding reserved instances savings plan. So I'm expecting that to come up as well. When I'm not going to explicitly say we are not using instance. So probably in the iteration we can say, I am using this. So can you improvise that on that further for us, right? So we can do it. And for right sizing, we can say that we perform regular instance right sizing. Okay, so this one will say we are all aligned as per the well architected framework, what is required. Going back for the monitoring, let's say we use CloudWatch, right? We use CloudWatch for monitoring most compute services, including database and audios. Let's put this. Also use third-party tools such as I don't know, let's say XXX. I don't want to put any specific custom part vendor name. I'm just going to say party tools such as XXX to monitor applications, right? So this is a bespoke application. Then from a logging strategy, again, how do we aggregate? We use all logs are uh, stored in a log account in centralized uh, repository. All right, so this is one. Compliance, let's say we are an FSI customer and hence need to have, I don't know, let's say PCI DSS compliance, right? So let's do that. And from an audit perspective, what do we want to say? Yeah, let's say from a governance strategy, we need to steer um, this logs for 21 years and is frequently accessed in the first 7 years, hence stored in S3 and then archived to Glacier, right? So let's put that after 7 years, right? So this is what we have put, and I think for automation, let me just copy what I have. I'm saying that I use Terraform for infrastructure as a code, and for deployment automation, we use CI/CD to process all of this, right? So I'm just gonna go with what I already had. So architecture model, I'm gonna say I want microservices and use serverless AWS services is where applicable, right? So if you see, as we progress, everything is being removed from here. So it is just saying what all is pending to for architecture analysis to start off. So once we share the container strategy, it will start processing here, and then we can start having the follow-up discussion as well. Yeah. So from a container strategy, we'll say earlier also we said we are using ECS with Fargate, so we'll be consistent with our points, and then here we go. So now what has happened? We have given all the points, waiting. Now it's gone into generating, and there we go. Right, based on AWS well-architected framework, against all the pillars that we have said, it has started to generate the report. So we'll just let it complete its report generation, and then we'll have a quick feedback.
Meanwhile, do you want to make that architecture analysis bigger so that it's more visible?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see, right? So what we did was we gave our inputs. Some places we specifically differed from being well architected, right? And we hope that that comes in the recommendation. That's what I want to see. Let strengths and everything. I think we know that what we have put in. So the first pillar is operational excellence, where it says that it's okay, strong ISE centralized logging. So it has, taken that input that we have added. It says automated CI/CD, which is great, but it says recommend chaos engineering, that is famous by Netflix, that is there to do it. Either do that and then run books for operational procedure, because we never said as part of the compliance and audit we are doing any of these as part of it, right? And also from a DR, running the recovery procedures and regularly testing them. Now coming to security, right? We specifically added some bits. So strengths, yes, MFA for admin, security groups are done, fine grain IAM is done. But what is not there? MFA not mentioned for mandatory for all users. This is a critical risk. We wanted that to give it as a critical risk. Then we have no mention of encryption and secret manager. Okay, so maybe what we can do is we'll mention that. Okay, that uh, for security we'll come in, we'll write that, right. For security, we do have encryption at uh, in transit and at rest using KMS keys, right? So, basis that, here it is already giving you a view of what are the other things that we can do in addition to it, right? So we said that data protection is there, current security posture, this is where we are, and how it is well protected. So data protection, access control, and recommendation for enhancement can be KMS key management, and that additional security can be MFA for all users, not just admins, implement guard duty, shield, config. And if you remember, we also put compliance, right? And we specifically put PCI DSS for FSI. So it has specifically done the correlation between the 2 points and then given us a PCI DSS compliance, do CloudTrail and Messi, AWS Messi, right? For sensitive data discovery, which is very critical, and that's what AWS Messi specializes in.
Yeah.
So if you see, this is how you can interact based on whatever data you have gathered on top. You can interact with it and say, these are the things that I've already done. How do I improvise in on it and then take that further, right? And then further it goes into reliability, performance efficiency. Again, for all of you to just have a view, it gives you a recommendation, it gives you the strengths, and wherever specifically there is any risk, that high risk that it finds out, or HRIs as we call it under the well architected framework, HRI and MRI, right? High risk issue and medium risk issues. That is what it identifies and tells you to take it further. So this is just an idea of potentially how you can use PartyRock to develop this and fine grain this further as well. And before we wrap up on that part, it's also giving you a summary of this, right? It is giving you all of this monitoring observability. All of this is great. Now, what I wanted to do is, this is all good. I want to go and present this to my management, right? Uh, so let's say I want to say create a short and short, or rather, let's say brief executive summary of the above report and highlight key action items to be taken. Right? So what I would expect is when I say this, it gives a very concise report, not going into specifics, and also gives short-term goal, long-term goal, mid-term goal, and long-term goal. What should be it? So that's what I would expect as a summary. So let's do that.
So, Kaushik, I think we can expand this also, the follow-up discussion,
Yeah,
so that,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So there we go.
yes.
Brilliant. Right? So if you see now what has happened is immediately it's given a one pager, right? So this is a good one pager summary which says the current cloud infrastructure operates across two regions with a robust multi VPC architecture. So which is highlighted in a very managerial language, right? So that's what they want to understand. Implementing various AWS services for high availability, security, and scalability. Microservices is highlighted. Backup and disaster recovery is highlighted. Strengths are called out, but it also calls out all the key risks, right? It's giving a very unbiased report. And as wanted it to happen, it's giving you priority action items on high priority, medium priority, and then tagging them as well, right? So timeline recommendations, all security items should be immediate within 30 days, right? Cost optimization to be in Q4, Q2, and Q3. Sorry, Q2, Q3. But again, the year it got it wrong. It says it's still in 2024. I think based on the data it has, right? It should have recommended 2025. So, so this is how a quick summary is generated based on all the inputs that we have given. So now let's say if I can double click into this, just using this, right? And say for uh, key security and compliance requirements, can you create the optimal um, IAM rule? And, um, let me see. So if you see, right, where did we start with? We started with a very high level architecture. We said this is what it is, based on which it gave you the findings. Now, from the findings, now you're saying, okay, how do I take action upon it, right? So now into it, if you go and see, uh, the question to is, if you can give me policies. Let's just review the first one. Administrative, it has to be restrictive for align with PCI DSS compliance. So if you, what I'm trying to highlight is, it is keeping the reference to all the key points that we have mentioned before, right? So all of that is still done. It is providing restricted admin access, allowing all only if MFA is enabled, and source IP is only from the corporate IP range, right? So no one can access it beyond this. And security group modification is denied, and all of that is denied in production environment, which is brilliant, right? Similarly, for developer, everything is allowed, not which is required for a developer. It is not giving access to guardrails or anything of that sort. Only to EC2, RDS, S3, and even to S3, it's restricted to list and get, no delete or anything of that sort, or update. And then MFA to be enabled for that as well, right? And similarly, going forward, we have security audit policy where all the security related services are made available. So it is such uh, context aware, so that we don't even need to share anything. And again, we mentioned KMS, so it has also brought KMS into the picture, saying that for KMS, what access does the KMS key need to the services, and then allow key usage where all can be done for specific application role, right? What the application role can do, whether it can decrypt, encrypt, and generate data key as well, and so on and so forth. Then there are service policies, right? Service role policies, what ECS and Lambda can do when this
Hmm.
policy is applied to them. So I think, yeah,
Right.
so that's just wanted to give a quick overview of what the capability is of this particular tool.
So one thing I would like to say, Kaushik, like I think you started with showcasing that how we have to build it, but within few minutes you went with the flow. You went to
Yeah.
your architectural side and you were just enjoying it, that this is how it
Yeah.
works, that is how it works. But the kind of depth that you have created to this specific topic, where you have explained each and every point that as an architect you have to take into consideration, was really very helpful, and I learned a lot from it. uh, have you ever used this like PartyRock tool for any kind of decision makings or any kinds of advice that you require when you're doing some professional work at your end? Like the way you are doing it, I can see that you have been using it for a while. That's why you know everything, that how to give the inputs, how to get the output, how to align it properly. So how you have you used it in your daily life? uh,
Unfortunately, yeah. So, okay, so I've not used it extensively for my day-to-day activities, But one thing I've certainly done is, created some applications uh, to just create a list of, let's say, uh, maths questions for my, let's say, for my daughter, for an example, right?
Hmm.
I want to just give her a test based on the grade and age group she is, and then, go ahead and answer those questions. It was just a kind of an experiment which I wanted to do and see how that works. So that is one thing which we did. And again, I let her also play and me showing that of, okay, if I have to have a Jurassic Park in Malaysia, how would that
Hmm.
look and what kind of dinosaurs would be there in Malaysia as well? So use the image generating capabilities of AI to do that. So probably, those are the few things that I've done using Party Rock. It's more of, so the idea is you don't have to use Party Rock for serious things that has to be done. It can be for your day-to-day activities. It can be a personal assistant that you have developed for your own usage, right? So that's what Party Rock is. uh, and at the end of the day, that is what the AI capabilities in the backend is, right? So
I think that's another message that I wanted to pass for to people,
sense
that
of
PartyRock is for all. The way Kaushik you brought this into light, it really makes sense that it's not only for technical purpose. You can use it for anything. It's like
anything.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. For your children, for your nieces, your nephews, take this, let them play with it. So that's because I think we are just starting off. Thanks to your series, we have, people are getting educated on this, but the next generation already needs to know from. We know, the next generation is already using ChatGPT and everything for their studies already, right? So this is where they have to go to, and this is something that should be made available to them.
Oh, okay. That's really uh, good to know. So Kaushik, I think we have gone a bit ahead of our time, but still
Sure.
I didn't feel that we are crossing the time based on the inputs that you were giving. It was really overwhelming. I really appreciate that, and thank you so much for taking out your precious time to come on this Party Rock app building challenge, accepting the challenge, and creating something unique which might bring some difference to the people who are thinking of doing a well architectured framework and use the LLM capabilities to guide them as an advisor. So right now, the one last question before we close. It's a bit a tricky one. So the one that you were using, it was the default model. So what kind of different
Yeah.
models you have
Yeah.
used, and which one do you like in terms of the text generation that has been done in PartyRock?
I know you're a big fan of Nova Pro, right? Yeah, so yeah, it comes with elaborate inputs. I've found Claude to be useful as well. So Claude is one, and beyond Claude, of course, Nova is there. But I think in most of my scenarios in the past that I've used is either Claude before Nova was available.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Kaushik, for sharing that. So, guys, I think I have checked the chat. We don't have any questions for sure. I don't. I was not expecting, because the way he has explained it was very self-explanatory, where he has explained each and every point that comes into picture while doing a well architecture framework designing or a review. So, as we don't have any questions, so I would go ahead and end the stream. Before we end the stream, Kaushik, would you like to add something before we close the stream to the audience?
Thank you for this opportunity, Dheeraj. I think this is a great series for everyone to get educated on all the various possibilities of using AI, starting with Party Rock and its capabilities. And it's a wonderful playground. So thank you thanks to you for starting this off, and having me part of this journey as well. So thank you for that, and everyone on this. Have a great year ahead. Have a good day, and yeah, take care. See you soon.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for joining the stream. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. So here's the time to say goodbye. So bye for now, and see you in the next stream tomorrow.